So in this video we'll learn about the chemical changes. So chemical change is a change in which a new substance is formed by changing the chemical composition of existing substances. So whenever a chemical change happens, the chemical composition of the substance changes and the substance becomes an entirely new substance. So we can say that chemical change is accompanied by the formation of new substances which have different chemical compositions. So a chemical change is generally called a chemical reaction. It usually cannot be reversed. So usually these changes are irreversible, means once a new substance is formed, we cannot bring back the original substance from the new substance. So that's why we can say generally these changes are irreversible. Although there are some changes that can be reversed, but mostly we can say they are irreversible changes. For example, we have rusting of an iron nail, curdling of milk, burning of matchstick, ripening of fruits, burning of candle, cooking of food. So all of these are the example of chemical changes. Other examples includes bursting of fireworks. So in fireworks also chemical reactions takes place. Frying eggs is an example of cooking of food. Photosynthesis. So when plants make their food in the presence of sunlight and the gases, carbon dioxide gas. So here also chemical reaction happens. Digestion that takes place inside our body, so a lot of chemical changes and reactions takes place. So let us understand more about chemical changes with the help of these activities. So the first activity is to observe a chemical change with iron nails. So for that we will be requiring a few shiny iron nails and a plate. So procedure is that we have to take the few shiny iron nails in a plate and place this plate in moist place out of your house and observe them after a few days. So this activity will require a few days to happen because it's a slow change that happens, and after few days we will observe that a brown layer is formed on the iron nail. This brown layer that is formed on the iron nail is known as rust. So what happens is that iron will react with the moisture, means the water which is present in the surrounding, and the oxygen to form rust over it. So a chemical reaction happens in this case and the shiny iron nail becomes dull because it gets rusted. So from the conclusion we can say that the shiny iron nail gets rusted, and once it gets rusted we cannot get back the shiny iron nails from the rusted one. So thus rusting of iron is a chemical change. Now we have another activity where we will be showing a chemical change that occurs on mixing baking soda with vinegar. So for that we require vinegar, a pinch of baking soda, 2 test tubes, a delivery tube and lime water. So the first step is take some vinegar in a test tube and add a pinch of baking soda to it. So when we will be adding vinegar and baking soda together, what happens is a gas will be evolved, and when that gas is evolved we have to allow that gas to pass through the test tube containing lime water, means through the delivery tube that gas will be passed through a test tube having lime water. Now lime water is prepared by dissolving calcium oxide in water, so it is actually calcium hydroxide aqueous solution. So that is lime water. Now what are the observations? So the first thing is, on mixing baking soda with vinegar, a hissing sound is produced. Hissing sound means a gas is being evolved, and when that evolved gases pass through lime water earlier is a clear solution. But when the gases pass through it, it turns milky. Means the gas turns lime water milky. From here we can conclude that the gas evolved is carbon dioxide gas, because carbon dioxide gas is the one that turns lime water milky. Now this change can be represented as baking soda plus vinegar. So it gives carbon dioxide, sodium acetate and water. Now this carbon dioxide, when it comes in contact with lime water, why it turns milky? Because it forms white solid substance called calcium carbonate. So calcium carbonate is not soluble in water, so it will come out in the form of white solid. That is why the milkiness will appear, and this change can be represented as lime water plus carbon dioxide gives calcium carbonate plus water. So here we can see that chemical reaction and chemical change is happening. So we can say that baking soda with vinegar is a chemical change. We have one more activity to study chemical change using iron filings and sulfur powder. So iron filing means fine pieces of iron. Then material required are iron filing, sulfur powder, china dish, a magnet, a burner or a candle. So firstly we'll take some iron filings and sulfur powder in a china dish and mix them. Once we mix them, we'll bring a magnet close to the mixture and note the observation. So do you think any new substance will be formed on mixing iron filings and sulfur powder? So we will see actually that when we mix iron filings and sulfur powder and bring a magnet to it, iron filings, you know that they are magnetic in nature. Iron is a magnetic material. So they will get attached to the magnet and sulfur powder will be left behind. Means there is no chemical change that has happened when we have mixed both of them. So iron retains its properties, sulfur has its own properties, so iron gets attached to the magnet. Now we will heat the mixture containing iron filings and sulfur powder and observe the changes. So sulfur powder is actually yellow in color. So we have to see that yellow sulfur powder is there or not, or has it disappeared. Now after heating it, we will bring the magnet again and we will see is the mixture affected by magnet or not. So let us see what are the observations. First observation was that on bringing magnet close to the mixture of iron filings and sulfur powder, before heating, iron get attracted to the magnet. But once we heat it, the mixture glows brightly and changes into the black solid. Now that black solid formed is different from the original mixture, so that indicates that a new substance has formed, and that new substance is iron sulfide or ferrous sulfide, we will call it, when iron and sulfur react. Now that substance will not get attracted to, means it is having entirely new properties or its chemical composition has changed. So what we can conclude is that a chemical change has taken place on heating iron filings with sulfur powder, and we can represent it like iron plus sulfur gives ferrous sulfide. So this is a chemical change. So with the help of these activities, we have understood what do we mean by a chemical change.